Imagine the mountains of feudal Japan. The year is 1591. Autumn has painted the maples blood red, as if the forest itself is preparing for what is about to happen. The air is thin and sharp at this altitude, carrying the smell of pine resin and cold stone. A narrow mountain pass cuts through the peaks like a scar, 300 meters long, and no wider than 20 men standing shoulder to shoulder. This is the only route between the northern provinces and the capital. Whoever controls this pass controls everything. And right now, 50,000 samurai of the Shimazu clan are marching toward it. Their armor gleams in the pale morning light. Lacquered black and red, decorated with clan symbols, each piece crafted by master artisans over months of work. Their commander, Lord Shimazu Yoshihiro, rides at the front on a black horse. He has never lost a battle. His men have been marching for 3 days through mountain roads, and they are tired but disciplined. The sound of 50,000 pairs of sandals on stone creates a rhythm that echoes off the mountain walls. Banners with the Shimazu cross snap in the cold wind. They expect no resistance. Intelligence reports the pass is unguarded. Intelligence is wrong. At the northern end of the pass, 1,200 meters from where the samurai column will enter, a man lies completely still beneath a carefully constructed hide of pine branches and mountain moss. He has been in this position for 11 hours. His name is Senior Sergeant Dmitry Kovalev, Forward Observer and Sniper, Special Operations Forces of the Russian Federation, 2024. His deployment here makes no logical sense by any conventional military doctrine. But the temporal anomaly that dropped him into feudal Japan 3 days ago was not interested in conventional military doctrine. Kovalev has had 3 days to prepare. He chose this position with the precision of a man who has spent 15 years thinking about nothing but angles, distances, wind patterns, and the relationship between a bullet and its target. The northern ridge gives him a direct line of sight down the entire length of the pass. The samurai will be channeled into a killing ground 300 meters long and 20 meters wide with sheer rock walls on both sides. There is nowhere to go except forward or backward. The geography is perfect. His weapon is the SVDM sniper rifle, a modernized Dragunov platform chambered in 7.62 by 54 mmR. Effective range against human targets. 800 meters under normal conditions. At this altitude, with the thinner air-reducing drag, he has already calculated his effective range extends to nearly 1,000 meters. He has 480 rounds. He has laid out 12 magazines in a precise row to his right, each one already loaded, each one representing 10 shots. He also carries a suppressor which he has fitted to the barrel. The suppressor will not make the rifle silent. Nothing makes a sniper rifle silent. But it will reduce the muzzle signature and change the sound enough that in these echoing mountain walls, the samurai will find it almost impossible to locate the source of the shots. He has also prepared 3 secondary positions along the northern ridge, each one connected by a carefully cleared crawling lane hidden beneath the vegetation. If he needs to move, he can do so without being seen from below. Kovalev adjusts his scope one final time. The optics give him a crystal clear image of the pass entrance 2 kilometers away. He can see the lead elements of the samurai column beginning to enter the narrow defile. Through the scope they look close enough to touch. He can see the individual lacing on their armor, the breath misting in the cold air, the eyes of the lead samurai scanning the rocks above with professional caution. These are not ignorant peasants with farming tools. These are professional warriors, many of them veterans of decades of civil war. Some of them are genuinely among the finest individual fighters who have ever lived. Their tactical instincts have been sharpened by a lifetime of real combat. Kovalev respects this. Respect for the enemy is what keeps you alive. He allows the first 500 men to enter the pass. His first target is not a common soldier. It is the commander's standard bearer, the man carrying the large clan banner that marks Lord Shimazu's position. Without the banner, command communication becomes harder. More importantly, a banner carrier falling without warning will create immediate uncertainty at the command level. Kovalev tracks the standard bearer for 4 seconds, measuring his walking rhythm, calculating the lead. Distance: 940 meters. Wind: 4 meters per second from the northwest, consistent. Temperature correction applied. The ballistic calculator built into his scope shows him the exact point of aim. He exhales halfway. His finger takes the slack out of the trigger. The suppressed shot sounds like a loud hand clap, nothing more. The bullet travels 940 meters in just over 1 second. The standard bearer drops without a sound. The banner falls into the mud of the pass. The men immediately around him freeze for 2 seconds, looking at each other, looking at the fallen man, looking at the rocks above. They see nothing. They hear nothing that helps them locate the threat. One of them reaches for the banner. Kovalev is already tracking his second target. The second shot drops a senior officer who had begun moving toward the fallen standard bearer. The third shot takes the officer who replaced him. Kovalev works with the cold systematic efficiency of a machine, but he is choosing his targets with precise tactical logic. He is not shooting randomly into the mass of men. He is surgically removing the command structure, the men whose death will cause the most disruption, the most confusion, the most paralysis. By the fifth shot, the samurai in the pass have begun to understand that something is killing them from a direction they cannot identify. The echo chamber of the mountain walls is bouncing the suppressed muzzle blast in 3 different directions simultaneously. Warriors are pointing in 3 different directions at once. Some are pressing themselves against the rock walls. Others are raising their eyes to the ridgelines above, scanning for movement. They find none. Lord Shimazu receives the report from a breathless runner. 6 commanders dead into minutes. No visible enemy. No arrow fire. No musket fire. No sound of battle. His men are dying from invisible strikes from an impossible distance. Shimazu is a man who has fought in 30 battles. He has seen Ashigaru arquebusiers, Portuguese muskets, Chinese crossbows. He has never seen anything like this. He orders the column to halt. He sends 300 of his best scouts up the ridgelines on both sides of the pass to find and kill whatever is up there. Kovalev sees the scouts moving through his scope. He counts them. 300 men splitting into multiple groups climbing both ridges. He has perhaps 8 minutes before the fastest of them reach positions where they might be able to see his hide. He uses those 8 minutes with absolute economy. He fires 32 shots in 8 minutes, dropping every visible officer he can identify in the halted column below. He then begins the crawl to his second position, moving with agonizing slowness through the prepared lane, making no sound, disturbing no vegetation. The scouts reach his first position and find nothing but pine branches and the faint impression of a body in the moss. No shell casings. He had policed them all before moving. They find nothing that tells them what they are dealing with. Below in the pass, the column has been halted for 40 minutes. 50,000 men are packed into a confined space, unable to advance, unwilling to retreat, dying one officer at a time from invisible strikes. The psychological pressure is immense. These are warriors who understand death. They do not fear death, but they are trained to fight an enemy they can see, an enemy they can charge, an enemy whose blood they can spill with their blades. This invisible death from impossible distances is something their entire training and psychology has no answer for. Lord Shimazu makes a decision that shows why he is considered one of the great commanders of his era. He orders the column to reverse, to pull back out of the pass and regroup on the open ground to the south. It is a humiliating tactical retreat, but it is the correct decision given the information available to him. He cannot advance through a pass where invisible death waits. He needs to understand what he is facing before he can defeat it. Kovalev watches the column begin to reverse through his scope from his second position. He has fired 81 shots. He has 43 dead, including 11 senior commanders. He has halted 50,000 men. But Shimazu is not finished. The Japanese commander spends 2 hours reorganizing on the southern plain. Kovalev observes through his scope, watching the tactical reorganization with professional appreciation. Shimazu is doing exactly what Kovalev would do. He is identifying the problem. He is developing a solution. The solution Shimazu arrives at is elegant in its simplicity. He sends 10,000 men, not through the pass, but up and over the mountains on both flanks simultaneously. It will take them 6 hours to complete the flanking movement. But at the end of those 6 hours, whatever is killing his men from the northern ridge will be surrounded. Kovalev does the arithmetic. 6 hours. He has 400 remaining rounds. The flanking force will not be visible to him until they crest the ridge. At that point he will be engaged at close range with 10,000 men while simultaneously being unable to use his long-range advantage. His position becomes untenable at R5. He has 5 hours to make this pass cost Shimazu so much that the strategic calculus changes. He begins again. Working from his second position, then his third, he resumes the systematic removal of the command structure in the column on the southern plain. At this range, nearly 1,000 meters, he is working at the absolute edge of his capability. But every shot that drops a banner carrier, a mounted officer, a visible commander is a shot that degrades Shimazu's ability to coordinate the flanking movement. Runners are being killed mid-stride. Messengers carrying orders never arrive. By the 4th hour, Shimazu has lost 61 officers. The flanking movement is continuing, but it is slower and less coordinated than intended. Men are waiting for orders that never come because the men carrying those orders are dead on the mountainside. But the mathematics are inexorable. The flanking force will arrive. The ammunition is finite. The sniper is one man. As the sun begins to set over the mountain peaks, painting the sky in shades of amber and blood red, Kovalev makes his final calculation. He has 31 rounds remaining. The first elements of the flanking force are visible on the eastern ridge, still 2 kilometers away, but moving fast. He has perhaps 40 minutes. He fires his last 31 rounds with the precision of a man who knows each one must count. Each shot is a carefully chosen target. Each shot buys time. Each shot makes the enemy's coordination slightly worse, their advance slightly slower, their confidence slightly more uncertain. The final round is fired as the first flanking samurai crests the ridge for 100 meters to his east. Kovalev polices his position one last time, shoulders his rifle, and begins moving north along the prepared escape route he had identified 3 days ago. Behind him, 50,000 samurai stand on both sides of a mountain pass that one man held for a full day, firing 162 rounds, killing or wounding over 100 of their finest officers. The pass never fell. Sometimes the most powerful weapon in any era is not the one that makes the biggest explosion. It is the one that makes the enemy stop and think. Because thinking takes time, and time, in warfare, is the only currency that truly matters.